have a few questions. I'll try to kind of wrap them into one. One, there's a drummer with the same name as me in the internet. It drives me crazy. I'm Lori Peters. Her name is Lori Peters. So I used to be able to search myself and find my articles and everything online. Now I just find her drumming stuff. And she's a religious freak, so it really doesn't help me out. So I was thinking of adding my middle name, maybe. Is that a good idea?
Tanya?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. You know, you can differentiate yourself how you want. You could add a middle initial, so one letter to it, and then just, as I said earlier, just keep it consistent with all of, from your resume to your email address to everything.
Yeah, I think got the email address like that
yeah,
already.
I think that's a very clever idea. And just make sure you use it with everything, and soon you'll be known as this new person.
And not a drummer.
Yeah, believe it or not, you would think with my name I wouldn't have that problem, but there's like a weird French haute couture designer named Manouche, and so whenever you type in my name, you get this wacky, like, avant-garde designer apparel.
So, anyway, I was living in California. I went to NYU and took film and TV, writing and production and all that. You know, it was great fun. I worked for a lot of shows, Dr. Phil, whatever. And now I'm back in New York. I missed New York. I didn't like the people there. So I'm trying to reinvent myself. And I've been doing like some PR for people. I've done copywriting. I've done, and I want to get into more journalism for paid money. Like there's so many people who want me to do it for free and say, you're amazing, you're amazing. And I'm meeting PR companies, but I'm like, I can't work for free. And all my contacts that I got on LinkedIn, like 90% of them are California. So that's, what do I do?
I think that goes back to building your network. Maybe you could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand. So is the question how to develop more contacts in New York?
Well,
Leveraging that.
That can give me work and real, higher paying work. Like I got somebody that gave me a technical writing job, and I said, oh yeah, production development, I can do that, that's great. $35 an hour. And then it was about computers. I don't know anything about computers. It was a tech computer job. So that didn't do me any good.
I guess one of the things I'm hearing is that maybe you could be a little bit more specific in terms of the kind of work that you want to do, and in terms of how you are branding and marketing yourself.
You can't. Yeah, I have a problem with that because I have like 18 resumes.
Right, and I think sometimes when we try to be all things to all people all the time, we send out a very fragmented message, and sometimes it's difficult for people. I think that it's striking that balance between having a niche and having too narrow a niche. But I think it's useful to have some.
Writer doesn't cover it. You can't just say you're a writer and you can do this and this and this.
There are a lot of writers here. I think that getting a little bit more specific within that industry would probably be beneficial to you.
Tanya, what did you do? Because you moved from across the country and basically had to reinvent yourself in a new country.
Sure. Yeah, I guess to share with you, I didn't know one soul in New York City when I moved here, and it was just picking up the phone. I didn't spend a minute on any websites, the Career Builder, any of those Monster, not a minute. I made a list of the companies I wanted to work with and who I wanted to partner with, and I picked up that phone every day, and what got me in the door was my message that I said to these people on the phone every day.
So that's a great point, because I wanted to ask you further,
Did
Tanya.
they call you back? Did you get through to their assistants? Past their assistants?
I got in front of every person that I called,
So
every single
what was
person.
your secret?
So wait, that's what I'm going to get to. I wanted to talk more about this idea of the positioning statement that we talked about. What exactly is a positioning statement, and how do you go about creating one for yourself?
A positioning statement is clearly, distinctly, succinctly defining you and what makes you special, what makes you stand out, and what's going to give somebody enough excitement to want to meet you. So for example, I could have went many directions when I picked up the phone. I could have said, "Hi, I'm interested in your company. Can you please meet with me?" I probably would have gotten in the door. So what I did was I changed it entirely and said, "I'm the top salesperson in Canada in media sales, and I want to commit myself to your network, and I think it would be really great if we could sit down and have a conversation." Not one person said no to that. So it's just how you want to position yourself and the confidence that you want to bring to the table, and make it sound like, you know, they'd be doing themselves a disservice if they didn't meet with you.
And I think to add to that, I think it's also incorporating into it the element of what is the experience that people have working with me. So this is what I do, and people who work with me have enjoyed these kinds of results, this kind of satisfaction. What's sort of the emotional payoff of working with me?
Yeah, or what's in it for them? I mean, that's the key too. So any sales manager is going to want to meet somebody if they think, "Oh, she's going to increase, you know, my bottom line." So as Alan's saying, it's like linking that and getting them to think why they would want to meet you and how ultimately it's going to also benefit them.
We got another question.
Hi, my name is Colleen Vincent. I currently have a job. It's not my passion, and I try to expand some of my responsibilities. In a nutshell, I graduated from the University of Pennsylvania with a communications and commerce degree, and kind of started doing marketing because that's just how it went. And that's pretty much how my entire job situation has gone. I stumbled from marketing director to working in business, then fashion, then beauty PR, then event production, then event planning, and now I'm kind of stuck in my current job.
I want to just mention that at the next event, the town hall discussion, we will have a chance to workshop situations like that with the expertise of everyone here as well. But please carry on.
So in the course of this very enlightening experience, I've determined what my passion is. Like, my passion is something that I will ultimately do regardless of financial and relationship constraints. But I've always been the type of person that can only really produce my best when I'm working someplace that I have a passion for what I'm doing. And I try to expand my job responsibilities.
So what's your question for these
my
two?
question is, since I'm trying to move on, and while I am grateful to have a job, I'm under-earning. I'd like to move on, but my difficulty is finding the time management and focus to look for a job while I have a job, because I've never actually looked for a job while having a job before. Like, I've actually left and then...
Okay, so this is about making changes while you still have a job, which is a great position presumably to be in. Would you both agree? So how do you carve out that time to continue to earn your paycheck, but also to maybe put out feelers for something else?
I actually have a couple of my clients enrolled in the career transition program who are currently still working. It's full-time jobs. They do have a little bit of extra time to send a few emails here and there, but what they do is they go into work 2 hours early most of the time, or they'll meet with me either before work or after work, where we get specific with creating this positioning statement and creating all the things that you're talking about, and uncovering your values and figuring out what your next step would be. So you meet after hours. You do work on the weekends. They do a lot of information interviews and information meetings with prospective employers. They offer to buy them a cup of coffee before work and after work, and probably about 6-7 times out of 10, and people will agree to do that for information interviews. Another thing I wanted to tell you is an interesting term I heard by a career coach the other day is something called bridge work. And I think it's important for people who are either still working and wanting to transition, or people who aren't working, is you don't necessarily need to find your absolute perfect ideal job today. So we are going to have to take on bridge work is the term, and it's what it is that's going to help you get by until you find your next job. So maybe your mindset could be changed a little bit, and the job that you're doing right now is your bridge work. You know, it's paying your bills, It's getting what you need. Don't leave it, because you need it right now.
That's not my intention at all.
So,
It's just
so keep to it, think about it as bridge work, and then commit all of your other time and energy to everything we've talked about. And networking. Every evening you could be going to networking events. There's so many, especially in media. Social networking, they're all free. It's just about getting to know people, getting out your card. It's another thing, create a new business card. If you don't already have a business card to you and what role it is you want to do with your personal email address, create a business card and get it out there.
Alan, can I ask you for a final thought?
Sure. Final thought. It's like that James Lipton,
That's who I emulate, right?
Just a little anecdote. When I was at Scholastic, I moved around a lot within the organization, because back then it was encouraged you weren't perceived as a flake. You were somebody who was like gaining experience and developing skills. Well, my last job within that organization was as head of corporate training and development. I was the first person to be laid off of 500 people from Scholastic after an 8-year tenure. And, and that was one of the hardest things that ever happened to me, because I actually thought that I would be there for my entire life. It was a pretty close-knit, albeit dysfunctional environment. What happened is that I was introduced in that job to an executive coach, and really engaged in the process of coaching. And I am so grateful that I had that experience. Had that not happened to me, I wouldn't be sitting here today, really having a life beyond my wildest dreams, really having the career that when I did my vision plan 2 years ago, I actually have the life that I want to have today. So I know it's like the hardest thing to hear from people, and they say, you'll look back on this and it won't seem, you'll understand the reason for it. You'll look back on it and you'll understand the reason for it. And so I wish you all the best of luck, and please let me know how I can support you. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Tanya and Alan. Really appreciate it.